Hey everyone, Smooth Brain Operator here, talking to whoever's listening out there. Today's video topic I thought would be on the next returning Primarch. Yes, we've already got possible hints of Leman Russ or Vulcan returning, and either one of those would be great. And I know they're going to bring them all back at some point. Just hard to say who's next, right? And even though I like all the Loyalist Primarchs, and I'd love to see Leman Russ return, I think he'd be an awesome addition. The one I really want to see, who I think has a very, very compelling story, and I personally can't wait for him to return, would be Rogal Dorn. I think Rogal Dorn returning would be amazing, absolutely amazing, and be a great story to see unfold. Because not only was he in the Great Crusade, conquering planets, worlds in the name of the Emperor, he was also on his way back to Terra to help rebuild and be just the guardian of Terra, when then he came across the Eisenstein ship. And in the Eisenstein ship was Nathaniel Garrow, by far one of the best Horus Heresy characters by far. And he had the message. He was the one that told Rogal Dorn that Horus had turned traitor, which he almost died for. He almost died telling Rogal Dorn this, because Rogal Dorn loved his brother that much. But needless to say, Nathaniel Garrow was right, and Horus had turned traitor, and the heresy was happening. And so Rogal Dorn made all possible haste to Terra, and immediately started erecting defenses, preparing for Horus's arrival. And not only that, so he spent that entire time, I don't know how long it was, a decade or more, or I really don't know how long, from when he heard the news to when Horus first arrives at Terra. He spends all that time preparing, prepping, making safe, and he even talks about how he hates it. He doesn't like it. He's taking away all the beautiful, majestic sculptures and stone artwork and actual artwork, and like putting them deep in the vaults of Terra to make ready for war, to replace these stone sculptures with artillery arrays, to replace the paintings with shield generators, to heighten up security, to make machine gun nests, and just every bit of defense that he can. So he spends a long time prepping as much as he can for the defense of Terra against Horus. And then, of course, we know Horus shows up and ends up fighting him. And not him directly, but is Horus's legions versus Rogal Dorn's one legion and some extra, right? Some stragglers, I wouldn't say stragglers. He has like mostly a human army with his legion of Space Marines. And so it very quickly turned into a knockdown, drag-out brawl, just a slug match. Every inch of Terra, from the outer shield works to the first landing on the ground, to the first boots on the ground, to them taking new fortifications, to the traders, from the traders fighting in the atmosphere, punching through to the ground, taking areas, taking fortification points, just all this step by bloody step. It costed thousands upon millions of lives that Rogal Dorn had calculated, and he was playing the great game of strategy, if you will. Like, he was, to put it in perspective, it's like playing Rome Total War or something, except not playing. It was very much real for him, right? But he was the leader of the defense of Terra. The Emperor could do nothing. He was on the Golden Throne or in the webway fighting. Either way, he was indisposed. Many times at the council meetings, he would ask, where's the Emperor? Can the Emperor come out and help us? Can he, come out here and win this? And time after time, he was told, no, the Emperor can't come. He's working on his project in the other war, and two wars. So they were fighting on two fronts. Terra was fighting on two fronts. From the webway portal, demons trying to pour in, and then Horus and his legions upon legions trying to pour onto the surface of Terra. So Rogal Dorn had his work cut out for him. There was no one else. There was no one else. He had Jagatai, he had Sanguinius, but neither of them were a strategist. Neither of them would be able to take on the monumental task of putting troops where they need to be, pulling troops back when he needs to pull them back, rearranging the battlefield as he needs to, adjusting his strategy as he needs to. And it was frustrating for him. It was one of the hardest things he even did. It even talks about him being a Primarch, and he's just exhausted, and his eyes are just heavy. And he's a Primarch. He is the best humankind has to offer. He is the best that the Emperor has to offer humanity, or one of 18 bests, right? And so the point is, neither of the other two Primarchs, Jagatai Khan or Sanguinius, would have been able to. I think they would have done an okay job, but nowhere near a level or skill that Rogal Dorn had. And even after all that, all the blood that is spilled, all the battles after battles, day and night of fighting, and I feel like he would just walk up to the strategium and just see how many numbers have we lost today, and he wouldn't say it, but he would just be thinking that, how much ground have we lost today, but still fighting the good fight. Now, after all that's said and done, his forces are pushed all the way in to the inner sanctum of the palace, to the throne room of the Emperor himself. Rogal Dorn is spent. He is absolutely spent at that point, I would imagine, yet he still finds the will to fight on, teleports with the Emperor, but then ends up mentally fighting Chaos. He ends up fighting Khorne, and fighting against him for what was probably only a few minutes, but in his mind was thousands upon thousands of years. And that is a battle that I would want on nobody. That sucks. And yet somehow he pushed through. He still persevered. Even when he lost memory of everything. He didn't know the Emperor. He didn't know the custodians. He didn't remember the plan to go with them to go fight Horus. He didn't remember Horus. He didn't remember anything. He didn't even remember his own name. He was just muttering his legion, pretty much. He was just fighting the good fight as best as he could, and muttering his legion's number. Even I don't even think he remembered his own the name of his own legion. I think he was just muttering their name, and so through perseverance and just force of will, he eventually found a crack in whatever this was, whether it was a play on from the warp, whether it was, I don't know whether it was in his mind, in the warp, a little bit of both. He eventually found a crack and broke through. But by the time he got there, of course, it was too late. Everyone was dead, or mostly dead, or all dead. And he's able to get the Emperor back to the Imperial Palace, put him upon the Golden Throne. They won, but it costed them everything. And Rogal Dorn survived all of that. All of it. He survived everything. And the one person who probably hoped he would have died, especially at the side of his father, the Emperor. No, he didn't. And he survived. Rogal Dorn saw everything come to fruition. From the beginning of the heresy to the end of it. He saw it all. And then there was the scouring, right? And he's just like, I've had enough. There's just too much. So he went on to eventually just leave, right? He took his legion and he's like, I'm just gonna go peace out, fight in the iron cage, probably get killed, but that's what he wanted anyways at this point, because everyone he knew was gone for the most part. All of his brothers were gone, everyone was gone, and he was just left a broken Primarch, but still a man. Broken man. He was left a broken man with no way to heal. So what does he do? He goes to the Iron Cage. He refuses to split his legion, so he's like, fine, we'll just dwindle down to 1,000 Space Marines. And that was what he did. And then apparently at some point he had some other engagement. I cannot find the book or where the source is of Rogal Dorn's supposed mysterious demise. I wouldn't say demise, maybe just mysterious happenings. His disappearance, I will say, because I don't believe he's dead. Where's the body, right? Everyone else, we know where their bodies are at, but we don't know where Rogal Dorn is. So I would say his mysterious disappearance. And for the life of me, I cannot find the book or the text or anything of which where it says that this event even happened. And I know it's out there. I just can't seem to find it. So please like, subscribe in the comments. Let me know if you know that book and or passage that talks about it. But he goes, fights in a space battle, and then apparently is like separated from his legion. And the last anyone ever saw of him was he was just fighting to the end. He was just fighting, surrounded by Chaos Space Marines. They were leaping upon him, and he was just thrashing and killing them just by swinging his arms and his weapons. And that's the last anyone saw of him. And then whenever they retook that ship, all they found was his hand, and that's it. So anyways, like and subscribe for part 2 of this, because this is already running a little longer than I anticipated. So part 2 will pick back up on this. Like, subscribe, comment. Everyone, don't forget to go have fun. I know everyone gets out there and they work hard, so don't forget to play hard, right? And do something you enjoy, have fun, and peace.